It's day 93 and I was ported in La Coruña, Spain. I really like Spain. It is, I think, a great destination for women who are interested in solo travel. I'm not going to take you on the go along with travel with me exploration video today. I'm going to save that for a later date because I want to talk about, circle back to a couple of other topics. And what I'm finding is that I don't want to necessarily try to put everything in one video. I think that if I'm out and I'm talking to you about the destination, then, you know, I'll keep that and tie some other things. But I want to talk to you about something that happened today. As I was coming back from, you know, being in port and making my way down the pier, I saw a family and the wife waved to me and I waved to them, and I came over and we started talking. And, you know, I've shared with you that I believe in divine happenings, and you know, everything happens for a reason. And when my video went viral about me being asked if I was the crew, I was, my Gen X big sis Amy is like the best cheerleader and just best big sister. I mean, she is like my number one and rooting for me, and I'm so appreciative. And so she had messaged me and was like, your video is getting a lot of views and da 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 da. And so when I responded, I was like, I woke up to like 8,000 views, and I'm like, oh crap, you know, this isn't really what my channel is about. You know, I didn't really talk about race a whole lot on my channel. It was more so about my experience as a wife and a mother, and, you know, just trying to find my way. I didn't get into the things that I felt in the corporate world or, you know, other experiences. Like I told you, I didn't even think about this trip in the sense of being a Black woman. So, you know, that it might sound ironic, but that I don't really, you know, played the race card. So when this happened, you know, I was just kind of like, oh my goodness, this is a very polarizing topic, and people have strong opinions on both sides. And I've heard from Blacks, whites, and probably some of the other ones, and most everyone is, I don't know, the comments have been, they've varied in. And I don't think any of them have really been like disrespectful, or I've gotten a couple of little trolls here and there, but, you know, it's been interesting. And so I was like, man, you know, and I said too in that video that I felt like I had a responsibility to try and educate. And a lot of people were like, sis, just live your life. Do you, boo-boo, you know, and if they ask you this, then I just ask a question, you know, answer a question with the question, and da, 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 da. And I mean, just varying, like I said, varying comments and opinions. And, you know, I was just like, wow. So something happened, and I want to share it, and I'm going to share it, you know, but I want to circle back to I'm leaving in Casablanca before I share what happened. And I really want you to try to watch the video, the entire video. I mean, obviously I want the entire, but if you have to skip ahead, what I'm sharing with you is not going to be until towards the end of the video. So do what you like. So Casablanca, you know, I said 2 hours was enough. And I got a comment from one of my very engaging subscribers. This person, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but they give, you know, engaging comments. And so this comment today was that they thought maybe, you know, it was unfortunate that I only spent 2 hours because I had 12 hours in port. And, you know, and maybe had I planned it a little bit better, then, you know, I might not have maybe had that experience or something. And like, it should have been, maybe it was a sign to like slow down or, you know, something. And so I replied, and then I also asked like, hey, what's your name? Because they're engaging. So I didn't take the comment in a negative manner, but I think the comment was made and not understanding the mindset that I had. And so I want to talk about that and give you some tips if you're interested in solo travel or you're already solo traveling. I want to share some things with you because I think first and foremost, there are certain things that should be non-negotiable in solo travel. Okay. And number one is your safety. It is your comfort. As a solo female traveler, that is of the utmost importance. So I don't care if you spent a year planning a trip or something. If you don't feel safe, listen to yourself. Listen to your gut and remove yourself from that situation. Don't try to stay and in hopes that it's going to work out, because chances are it's probably not. And you had that feeling for a reason. So listen to it. Trust yourself and, you know, your instinct. That's how I felt. I didn't feel like I want to push the envelope. I am definitely a push the envelope type of girl. I love adventure. I mean, that is me, but I'm also wise and I'm smart, and I'm not going to put myself in harm's way. Not to mention, I'm traveling in another country. You know, I can try BS or, you know, maybe push the envelope back in the US, but outside of the US, no. And I didn't feel unsafe, but I felt uneasy. It was just like, wait a minute, if I can't videotape, then really, how am I going to take you guys along with me? Or if I'm limited, I don't know the rules, because my taxi driver, Hussein, was like, yeah, no problem with the video. He never said, oh, well, you can't do it in these places, or, you know. And this is clearly the difference between a taxi driver and a tour guide, like I had with Frank. Because Frank would never let anything like that happen. Frank would tell me, you know, no, you can't. Matter of fact, he did when we were in Bocop. He was standing on one street and I, you know, was doing me, walking off and exploring. And then he came down. He's like, Brandy, no. We only stay right here. We don't go past here, you know. And I had just gone 1 block over, but no. So that is the big difference when you hire somebody to drive you around and you want them to tell you some things versus like a certified tour guide. So keep that in mind. But number 2, research. Now, this itinerary was already chosen. I didn't choose to go and stay, you know, in Casablanca for 4 days. I'm on a cruise. And so this was already predetermined. I liked it and I went. But you are not obligated to get off the ship at any port. If you just want to stay on the ship, that's your thing. But if you're traveling somewhere else that is not, you're not on a cruise, you definitely need to research and look at what people are saying about the destination. Is it a good destination for a solo female traveler? What's the transportation situation like? Are you able to take public transportation where you don't have to deal with, you know, taxis and ride shares and things like that? You know, these are things that you want to keep in mind. Is there maybe a hotel that's centrally located to where you want to be, that has an airport shuttle, so you can just do that. When I travel, I really like to immerse myself in the culture. So I don't choose my hotel until after I have determined like what my points of interest are, because I want to choose a hotel that is centrally located so that I can get out and walk, so that I can limit the amount of transit time in between, you know, points of interest. So for me, that's how I do it. But you know, everybody is going to figure out their own way. I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong, but these are things to keep in mind. You know, what are they saying? Is it a good, you know, and also, you know, what is it that you want to do? What are you looking for in your trip? What do you want to receive from it? You know, are you trying to travel and you just want beach and you just want to like, you know, block out everything, so you're looking for an all-inclusive resort and you don't have any plans to leave the property? Or, you know, there are a lot of decisions and considerations that should be taken when you're planning a solo trip. Number 3, if you're uneasy about it and kind of feeling like, you know, I really have the desire to do it, but I'm still just afraid, or maybe your partner isn't comfortable with it, try to go on a cruise. I think a cruise is a great opportunity and a great way for you to get your feet wet. And, you know, with the solo travel, cruises have tons of activities for you to do on board. They will offer excursions. When you get into port, you can book that through the cruise line if you'd like. And when you do that through the cruise line, if it's late, the ship will wait. They will not leave you. If you know, want to go out and do some things on your own, you have to keep in mind and be back before your all aboard time, because you will get left if you aren't. But I think it's a great opportunity because of all the activities. You know, I've heard from some women that they're tired of traveling alone. I have a friend who said that, and she kind of wants a travel companion. You meet people on the ships. They have something for everybody. And if that's not you, you can still be on the ship and not have to interact or engage with people. You can just do you, and people will let you. There aren't any wrongs or rights. It's all what you feel comfortable with. And, you know, I just want you to remember that, you know, your safety is first. Do the research so that you know you have some options. And then, you know, try a cruise. So, those are my little tidbits. Now, circling back to coming from, you know, spending my day in La Coruña. So I was walking towards the ship, walking down the pier, and I saw the family, and it's 3. It's Phil, the husband, Nerie, the wife, and Hayley, the daughter. And they were sitting on the bench, and Hayley was playing. And so I waved, and I walked over to them to chat with them. And I think, so the conversation began with Nerie saying how much she really enjoyed Spain and just how laid back and chilled it was. And I was like, yes, it is. I think the same. So if you're looking for solo travel out of the country, Spain is a great place to start. So back to that. So I said, yeah, I agreed. And then Phil was like, wait, are you traveling by yourself? And I said, yeah, I am. I'm building a business to teach married women how to solo travel. Also single women too, not just married, but you know, both of you guys. But there's something about a married woman solo traveler, right? Okay. So anyway, I said, yeah, I am. And so Hayley was so cute. She said, you could teach my mom. You could teach her. And so anyway, we were just talking about that. I'm about to polarize this conversation even more to what I observed. And I shared that with them. And this is where, the conversation we just dove in. As a Black woman, what I have found is that when I travel to brown and Black countries, unfortunately, they've been very similar. And I understand that maybe it's the product of the world. Sometimes they didn't choose this life, and it's because of, racism throughout the world. But they come off and they're very aggressive, and, it's not great. It's horrible, honestly, because, they're very aggressive. The taxi drivers or the men are just in your face, and that's intimidating to, women, especially a woman traveling alone. And traveling in a group is not the answer. If you're going on a solo trip, you're doing it for a reason. And going in a group should not be the answer, because that negates it being a solo trip, and doing what you want to do. But when I've traveled, like in Spain, both Las Palmas and La Coruña, it was just very laid back. I didn't have people in my face trying to, solicit to me, or, as soon as I stepped off the bus in Casablanca, taxi drivers. As soon as I walked down the pier in Namibia, taxi drivers. As soon as I walked out of the airport in Cape Town, taxi drivers. They even told me in the airport, beware of the guys, only book with these people because they're scammers. I experienced it firsthand in Casablanca a couple of days ago when I've been in the Dominican. It's, Jamaica. It's just this hunger, and I understand, but it can be very, very overwhelming, and it makes it difficult to, want to solo travel because you're fearful, like, I don't want to do this. And so when I was talking to some people who went out in a group in Casablanca, even with a man, they said they experienced it too. And so, so I shared that with Nerie and Phil, and they knew nothing about my YouTube channel. And and Nerie started to tell me the number of times that she had been asked if she was part of the crew. And so here's that conversation. Let me know what you think about it. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Okay, guys, so I'm sitting here. I'm talking to Phil and Nerie and Hayley. I remembered. So we're just chatting, and we're talking about how safe we feel in La Coruña. And we're just exchanging, experiences. So I want you guys to hear this, okay?
A number of times someone has come up to Nerie on the cruise. It's called subtle racism, I suppose I'd call it. Mm-hmm. They ask her what treatments are available in the spa and that sort of stuff. They think she works on the ship because she's...
And Nerie is traveling with her husband, Phil, and her daughter, Hayley.
And for me, the one who I'm really upset, but I keep myself to control it, I have my medallion on me.
Yeah.
My medallion was the Blackpink's one, right?
Yeah.
And they're still keeping asking me if I'm working or staff.
Yeah.
And I have it with the medallion. What are you asking for?
So, I have a YouTube channel, and it's called The Runaway Reset, and it's about my recovery from healing from burnout, healing through travel, and solo travel as a married woman. So I had been on the ship for maybe 4 or 5 days, and I was asked 3 times, or on 3 different occasions, or some type of reference, was I with the crew? So I figured immediately, I kind of assumed that it was maybe because I was black. And so I went to my cabin, and I said, okay, I'm going to decompress. And with somebody one of the officers said, no, it's because you look young. And so, because I expected to be one of the younger ones because it's a world sailing, and I'm only doing a quarter of it. You guys are going all the way around. And so I was like, okay, maybe it's because, I just got on, or I don't know. So I posted this on YouTube, and that video is what blew up my channel. And I said that I thought maybe it had more to do with my age and not my race. But now hearing you say it.
21 things. It's happened. They're asking me, are you from America? I said, no, I'm from Africa. Where in Africa? I said, Madagascar. And they said, oh, that's the answer I've got. So after that, every time I went, and when they're asking me, I said, I'm from Madagascar. Oh, it's just a pass. It's just a pass, but I'm tired.
Yeah, and you've been on much longer than me, because you got on like 3 weeks before I got on. So
140?
yeah,
We're doing 116 days.
116 days. Wow.
So in the end, I'm just like, I love a cruise, and I don't care about, because they grew up with, they are more older.
Yes.
I think it's just the mentality. They don't mean to be
No.
racist, but it's just the fact that they don't see a lot of blacks, so they
Yes.
think all the blacks are obviously working on the ship
Yes.
and can't afford to go on a cruise. And it's just, I think they must think to themselves, oh, that was probably the wrong thing to say.
And I think it's curiosity, because the first time it happened to me, I was in the laundry room getting ready to do my laundry, and it was a white man, and he wasn't disrespectful or rude with it, but it was just very, oh, so do you work on the ship? And I was like, no, I'm traveling. I'm working, but for myself, not on the trip, on the ship. And then it happened again in the captain's circle party. I sat down next to an older couple, and they asked, was I a part of the crew? They were like, are you undercover? And I was in a black dress and a black jacket. It's the captain's circle party. And I said, no. And they were like, you're traveling alone? So are you in a room by yourself? That's what alone means. And so I saw another table. I got up, I excused myself. And then what was the third time? There was something else. Jeez, that one always escapes me. But I haven't been asked since, but oh my goodness.
I got a lot that there. And in the end, I'm just like I said, sometimes I'm just a certificate. We used to be always go on the show and find things, but in the end, I'm happy watch my movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired. Like, when I go by myself, everyone smile to me. I like address things. When Phil go by himself, everyone friendly to him. But when we go together, no one talk to
it's
us.
like frowned upon because you're a white man with a black woman.
No one talk to us.
Maybe they're just jealous.
Perhaps.
Of
Well,
the-
yeah. Look, hey, they don't know your son is older than me.
Yeah.
That's right.
One thing so I find out too is, that's why I feel racist of them is, when they saw those Asian women, even the young than men, they're very friendly with them.
Yeah.
But when they saw African, like a black skin, not African, but black skin with the white men, they didn't see you.
Yeah, because
when they saw the Asian, they just like, oh, you're very good. Where you come from? But when they saw you, some of them ignoring. But they don't care. I like dressing up. Before he meet me, I'm dressing up.
Yes.
So why you change today because I married him?
Right.
I also think, from a man's point of view, there's a lot of women out there think is a man my age should be chasing a woman the same age, and they feel jealous because
Because you have a younger woman. And then probably a woman
I'm off the market. You know?
Yeah, a woman of
She got
color.
out of the kids club.
Yeah.
And what the friend said, they think that he is
Her grandpa.
grandfather.
Well, I don't mind
And she
that.
said, I don't care.
Yeah, that's-
My friend at the kids club
that happens
said,
all the time.
you are my grandfather, but you are my dad and I love you so much. I don't care.
Aww.
Is that correct, Ellie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love